So did you know that square-toed shoes were conjured up by witches to sabotage your style? Alright, so maybe calling them instruments of the devil is a bit too much, but gents, believe it or not, I do have a legitimate reason why you want to avoid this particular style of shoe. Now, square-toed shoes go back to the 15th century, and the reason this design was popular is it didn't require a whole lot of skill to make them. And the square design, even though it didn't take much skill or craftsmanship, could make the shoe more comfortable because in general it allowed more room for the toes. Now the trade-off, as you can imagine, is a poor fit. They didn't actually conform to the foot properly, but as mass production of footwear took off, the square design also meant those shoes could fit more feet, and the last shoes to make them were cheaper, so for hundreds of years the cheapest shoes out there used a square-toe design. Now as shoe design got better, the more elegant curved toe became more popular, not only because design-wise and proportion-wise it looked better, but they also fit the foot better and when sized properly were more comfortable. Now I get it, if you've got foot issues and you want to go with this style, it's comfortable, you do you. But historically speaking, square-toe designs have always been associated with cheap, poorly made shoes. Hence why I encourage you, if you want to look good, not to buy square-toed shoes. And speaking of feet, let's jump over to socks, in particular, white socks. I'm going to make a strong statement here, and that is that white socks should be abolished. I know, I'm a kid of the 80s and 90s, and I wore white socks throughout my teens and most of my 20s. But if you think about it, why are we wearing socks that are of a color that's so easy to show stains, to show dirt? In fact, I can't remember a time that I didn't have white socks that needed to be bleached or thrown out after like a dozen wears because they started turning off-white, had stains, and just started looking old because that white color could never last with the way I was wearing them. You know, the mistake that so many guys make is that they wear white socks out of an athletic setting. Seriously, they've got no purpose to ever be worn with dress shoes, with casual leather shoes, or even with sneakers and shorts. Seriously, for that combination, either go no-show socks or pick up a pair in a neutral color that don't go above the ankle. I personally have moved entirely away from white socks and went to darker colors in no-show or ankle designs. And I'm sure I get them as dirty as the white ones I used to wear, but because they're a darker color, they hide the stains and the discoloring. Now, another sock mistake I see is the length, in particular when you are wearing socks with trousers or jeans. The key here is you want your socks long enough to never expose your leg whenever you're sitting down, relaxed, leaning back, and crossing your feet. Now, I'm not saying you want to go knee-high socks here, but you definitely want to have something that goes up and covers the calf. And again, please avoid white. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and quickly talk about socks and sandals. The answer is never. Seriously, apparently the German dudes that started this trend have publicly apologized and confessed it was just a joke. Seriously, gents, it never looks good even with slides. The next mistake that can sink your style, guys, avoid adjusting yourself in public. I get it, you had some unexpected growth. You got to move things around down there. Or maybe it's just hot and sweaty outside. You got to reposition. Gents, I'm telling you, take a second, get out of the public view and do it in private. And while you're at it, let's address the sweat spots. In the armpits, in the back, in the chest. Maybe you've got swamp crotch. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Gents, if you're dealing with these type of issues, there is a 6,000-year-old hack for this. Seriously, the Egyptians back in 3000 BC were dealing with swamp crotch and body odor and sweat by using finely powdered minerals like alabaster, ash, and even clay to absorb sweat and mask odor. Fast forward thousands of years, your grandfather used body powders to deal with foot odor, post-shave discomfort. And guys that work in hot environments like the oil fields, firefighters, and when I was in the military, we used body powders with menthol to stay cool. Well, gents, if you're looking for a body powder that's going to keep your skin cool and protected, well, gents, you're going to want to check out today's sponsor, Zinc Calm. Now, personally, what I love about Zinc Calm is how simple the ingredients are and what you aren't going to find in this powder. So Zinc Calm is talc-free, cornstarch-free, paraben-free, it's aluminum-free, fragrance-free, it's sulfate-free. So how does Zinc Calm work? Well, the active ingredient, as the name implies, is zinc oxide. You're also going to find calcium and menthol, again, which has that cooling property, which is a combination that absorbs moisture, protects the skin, helps prevent chafing, and keeps you cool. Seriously, gents, this ain't your father's body powder. So gents, if you've got excessive foot sweating, if you feel hot throughout the day, if you've got odor issues, or you just sweat a lot and you want to feel more confident throughout the day, gentlemen, you need to check out Zinc Calm. And to do that, gents, use the link in the description of today's video. I'm linking over to Zinc Calm with the best deal you're going to find out there. This is a brand new product. I know the founders and I know the time, research, and testing they put into this. This product is friggin' amazing. So go check it out. If you're looking for the best body powder on the market to help you feel dry, reduce chafing, and feel confident all day, guys, Zinc Calm is the product you want to check out. So go check them out. Use that link to get the best deal on the web. So the next mistake I see guys making all the time is they're wearing graphic tees outside of a casual setting. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a stance here. I think if you're out of college, if you are a professional man, I would just get rid of the graphic tees in general. I mean, if you really are attached to one, you've got great memories of it, put it in a frame, stick it up on your wall with some pictures and stuff. But seriously, day to day, your style, graphic tees do really nothing for you. You're going to look so much better with a solid colored t-shirt, maybe with a v-neck, or maybe switch over to a Henley. And I get it, graphic tees are now classic. They've been around since the 1980s, but across the board, they scream casual. And for most of you guys watching this channel, I know you want to level up your style, so try to avoid throwing those into the rotation. Next up, let's talk about overstuffed pockets. So on your jackets, on your shirts, you're going to notice there's pockets there. A lot of guys think, oh, I should therefore use it. Here's the deal. Most of those pockets are not actually designed to be functional. They are there for looks. They are there to give depth to the outfit. I know for some of you guys, that's disappointing. You want something to be functional. You want to get those cargo shorts and fill them up. And you know what? If you are out with your kids and you're at Disneyland, go ahead and fill those pockets up as much as you want. But if you're just wearing a shirt with pockets or a blazer jacket with pockets, don't stuff them because it's going to throw off your whole silhouette and could even stretch out and damage the pockets. Now, right with that, we've got the oversized wallet, the George Costanza wallet. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys have gone towards the slim wallet. Me personally, I have a slim wallet that fits right on my phone. I find that the smaller the wallet is, that constraint right there forces you to make a choice of what you're going to carry that day. So that's why I love slim wallets, because you got to choose which 3 or 4 credit cards you're going to carry, maybe a little bit of folded cash, and your ID. Those other 25 cards, receipts, and all those ones, yeah, because you got that small wallet, you decide, hey, I'm just going to leave them at home or maybe leave them in the vehicle. So another area where a lot of guys overdo it is when it comes to fragrance. So the first thing here is you want to understand what you're spraying on your body. In general, I like 2 to 3 sprays in the chest area, maybe one on each arm, back of the neck. But if this is a beast mode fragrance, you're going to take that and cut it to like 1, maybe half a spray on the back of the neck or the chest area, and just a little bit on the arms. But yeah, if you don't know the projection, if you don't know the sillage of the fragrance, then wear it with caution. And in general, if you're going to be in a closed, confined area, you want to be very careful with any fragrance you're going to apply. On top of that, when you're choosing a fragrance, especially one that you would wear out in public or to work, you want to go with something that's a freshie, something that's easy on the nostrils. So aquatics, aromatics, those are all great. Anything that is oriental, anything that is a fougere, anything that's a gourmand. I love those. They're sweet and they're maybe great for a date, but you want to be careful about strong, overpowering fragrances in an environment in which other people can't escape. You may love the fragrance, but don't choke out other people. Now, this next one's going to sound like I'm going a bit overboard, but guys, I would encourage you to look to get a manicure. Yes, especially if you bite your nails. Here's the thing. If you're biting your nails or if you've got really bad nails, when you spend money on this, guess what? You are going to take care of them. You're going to stop biting your nails. And, not everyone has to do this, but I would get a file. Have a good pair of nail clippers, or better yet, scissors. Seriously, if you understand clippers, you know that those are actually the worst thing for your nail, but people go with them because they're easy, they're convenient. But my point here is to take care of your nails, because if you do any type of research and you talk to women, whenever they see a man with bad nails, that scares the heck out of them. They're like, yeah. Seriously, I've seen them right over on Reddit, like, I ain't letting those fingers anywhere near me. And speaking of things women notice, let's talk about nostril hair. So in general, women are shorter. In general, if you're dating somebody, she's usually looking up. And what happens when she looks up? She's looking right into your nostrils. If you've got a forest coming out of there, and it's funny, like when you enter your 30s, all of a sudden the hair on the top of your head starts to thin, you start to lose it. Guess where it starts sprouting out of your nose and out of your ears. Now, some of you guys may be saying, oh, that's great. So you're saying, I'm at net zero. No, it doesn't necessarily work that way, because you want to keep that stuff trimmed that's coming out of your nose, coming out of your ears. I don't know, maybe go to Turkey. Maybe they can transplant it from there over to the top of your head. Seriously though, gents, if you're going to grow a mustache, make sure it's not coming out of the nose. Make sure it's not coming out of the ears. Now, this next one I think should be obvious, but stained clothing, wrinkled clothing, come on, you want to wear something that looks presentable. Even if you think nobody is going to see it. This was my nephew the other day. He had his graduation. His shirt was not looking good. He's like, oh, I'm going to be wearing something. Yeah, you will be, but you're also possibly going to take it off. Of course, he took off his graduation robe. He's going around taking pictures, and I was very happy to say that we did iron his shirt. Now, there are going to be certain materials like linen right here that are naturally going to wrinkle up. Now, it's part of its character, and it's something that after you've been wearing the shirt for a while, you can embrace. But in general, you want to make sure anything you put on looks good. And if you can't remove a stain, seriously, you've tried everything, then you're probably going to need to look to retire the shirt. But the reality a lot of us have to just face is after a couple dozen wears, a lot of these items just simply need to be replaced. Now, what about logos? What about tucking in your shirt? What about clothing fit? Well, guys, I continue the experience right here, guys, with more items you need to watch for. Yeah, this video, I wanted to cover some things that I hadn't before. And seriously, you're going to get a whole other list of things you want to avoid doing. So guys, go check it out. We continue the experience right here. Mistakes men want to avoid making. So boom, right here. Yeah, go check it out right there.